You come home after a long day, you open the door, and the first thing you see is this: a pillow, completely destroyed, like a small storm passed through the room. Then you look at your shoe, just one of them, sitting there in the middle of the floor. The other one isn't hard to find. The couch cushion is in the corner, its stuffing scattered everywhere, and right in the middle of all that chaos, your dog is sitting there, quietly looking at you. That look, we all know that look. Guilty? Sorry? Or were they just waiting for you? Most people have the same reaction. You get frustrated, and the same question runs through your mind. Why did they do this? Maybe you've asked that before and the answer you got was something like this: they were bored, they had too much energy, or they're just badly behaved. Those answers aren't exactly wrong, but they're only a small piece of the story. Researchers found that there's a powerful reason behind this behavior, and once you understand it, you'll start seeing even the mess on the floor differently. In this video, we're going to explain why your dog targets pillows, shoes, and cushions, not just because they're bored. We're going to look at what they're actually trying to tell you. But before we go any further, let's clear up one critical point. When a dog destroys something, most people jump to the same conclusion: they don't listen to me, they have no training, they're misbehaving. But veterinary behavior researchers at the University of Bristol spent years studying destructive behavior in dogs, and the conclusion they reached was this: the vast majority of dogs that destroy things aren't actually problem dogs. They're trying to say something, and we're just not understanding them. Dogs don't have words. They can't tell you, "I didn't feel safe today." They can't say, "You have no idea what I felt when you walked out that door." And sometimes a destroyed pillow is the only sentence your dog is able to speak. And one of the reasons you're about to hear surprises most people. A lot of us assume the only reason is too much energy, but sometimes this behavior is the strongest signal your dog is sending you. Now let's go through the reasons why your dog destroys things, one by one. The first reason: separation anxiety. You leave the house, your dog's eyes are on you. The door closes. Most of us never see what happens after that door shuts. A study conducted at the London School of Economics found that more than 40% of pet dogs showed significant signs of stress when their owners were away. And here's what's interesting: when the owners came back, these dogs acted completely normal, like nothing had happened. You come home, your dog runs to you, and then you see the destruction. Most of us land on the same conclusion: they misbehaved. But that destruction is actually the remains of a crisis that happened while you were gone. The brain of a dog experiencing separation anxiety produces stress hormones, the same hormones that flood a human's brain during a panic attack. That pressure in the brain looks for a way out, and that energy gets directed somewhere: the pillow, the shoe, the couch. But here's the most important part of this: these dogs aren't being bad. They're trying to cope with stress. According to attachment research from Ethvas Laurent University, dogs form bonds with their owners very similar to the bond a baby forms with their mother. What happens when you separate a baby from its mother? It cries, it struggles, it lashes out. Your dog is doing the same thing, just in a different language. So how do you tell this apart from plain old boredom? There's a simple method: film your dog with a camera. If the destruction starts within the first 5 minutes after you leave, that is separation anxiety. If it starts hours later, that is boredom. That difference matters because the two are saying completely different things. One is saying, "I'm afraid of losing you." The other is saying, "You're not giving me enough of your time." The second reason: energy that builds up with nowhere to go. Maybe you're thinking right now, "My dog isn't anxious, they're just high energy." Okay, then ask yourself this: where exactly is all that energy coming from? A lot of owners take their dog for a walk and think, "I gave them exercise." But researchers at the UC Davis School of Veterinary Medicine found that dogs need mental stimulation just as much as physical exercise. Even when their body is tired, their brain still wants to work. Think of it this way: you spent 2 hours sitting in a meeting. You didn't move, but your brain was going the entire time. How do you feel when it's finally over? Drained, tense. It's the same for dogs. If there was nothing to explore during the day, no new smell, no new problem to figure out, nothing to discover, that buildup has to go somewhere. And most of the time, it goes to your things. And this is where most owners miss the key detail. Every breed has different mental needs. A border collie and a bulldog do not have the same requirements. Herding dogs, hunting dogs, tracking dogs. These dogs were bred for thousands of years to solve problems. Their brains are wired to work. If they can't find something to work on, they create their own task. That pillow your dog destroyed was in their mind a problem that needed solving. And when the brain solves it, it gets rewarded. Most people just watch their dog's behavior, but some people actually learn to understand it. If you want to learn the real reasons behind what your dog is doing, you can subscribe to the channel. The third reason, the part most people never think about. For dogs, destruction is often a way of releasing stress. That might sound strange the first time you hear it. A study published in 2019 found something worth paying attention to. The act of chewing and tearing triggers the release of endorphins in a dog's brain. In humans, that same chemical shows up after exercise. When your dog is destroying that pillow, their nervous system is calming down. The brain is rewarding the behavior. It's saying that felt good, and the brain wants to do it again. Understanding this point is critical, because once we understand this mechanism, we also get the answer to why punishing our dog doesn't work. You come home and see the destruction. Your dog feels your anger, but they can't connect it to what they did. For the dog, that moment is already over and gone. What ends up happening is this. They start feeling anxious every time they see you, and they go right back to the same coping mechanism. And the more it repeats, the stronger the cycle gets. The nervous system builds a response pattern. Stress, destroy, calm down. Stress, destroy, calm down. After a while, the behavior becomes automatic. That's why punishment alone doesn't work. You're only cutting the last link in the chain, but you're not touching the source. The source is still there, and it finds another way out. The fourth reason, imitation. This one genuinely surprises most people. Dogs observe far more than you realize. They're constantly watching. They watch how you use your hands. They watch you hold things, pick things up, carry things from one place to another. And dogs have developed something specific through the evolutionary process of living alongside humans, a tendency to imitate human behavior. Researchers at the Max Planck Institute clearly demonstrated that dogs can mimic human movements at a level other animals simply cannot. This isn't a conscious decision. It's entirely instinctual. Your dog picking things up and carrying them around, tearing at them, moving them from place to place. Some of that comes from this imitation drive. You move objects every single day. Your dog does the same thing with their mouth. But there's one important difference. You know the limits of what your hands can and can't do with something. Your dog doesn't. And this instinct points to something even deeper. Your dog is using you as a model. Whatever you do, however you behave, whichever objects you interact with most, your dog is recording all of it. That's why some dogs destroy the things their owner touches most often. An owner who always has their phone in their hand finds their dog has torn apart their phone case. An owner who always drops their shoes by the door notices their dog always goes for the shoes. This isn't a hard rule, but it is a pattern. The fifth reason, something you probably never thought about, scent. So why is it always your things that get targeted? Stop for a moment and think about it. Most of the time, your dog doesn't pick a random object. It's your shoe, your clothing, the spot where you sit. That choice is not random. A dog's nose is tens of thousands of times more sensitive than a human's. The scent center in a dog's brain is far more dominant. That's why your belongings fall into a completely separate category for your dog. To them, those objects represent your presence. For a dog experiencing separation anxiety, your scent is a connection point. Destroying the object spreads that scent further. It fills more space. For a moment, the brain says, here. That is a painful thing to sit with. The moment your dog feels closest to you might be the moment they're tearing apart your things. Once you understand that, a question naturally comes up. So what should I actually do? And the answer is simpler than you'd expect. Some behavior specialists recommend leaving one of your worn garments in your dog's bed when they'll be home alone for a long stretch of time. A worn t-shirt, a sock, unwashed, because the scent is there, and that scent gives their nervous system something to hold on to while you're gone. That might sound strange, but a study published in the journal Applied Animal Behavior Science in 2022 showed that dogs with access to their owner's clothing displayed 40% less destructive behavior when left alone. Your scent sends a regulating signal to your dog's brain. It says, "I'm here, I'm coming back, you're safe." A dog doesn't just destroy things. At least, that's not all they're doing. Most of the time, they're trying to tell you something. It might be fear. It might be longing. Sometimes it might just be a need to be understood. And a destroyed shoe is sometimes your dog's inner world spilling out into the open. Now I want to leave you with a question. Which things does your dog destroy most? Because that small detail might tell you far more about what they're feeling than you'd expect. I want you to write it in the comments. And if you've ever wondered why your dog follows you everywhere, why they sometimes just sit and stare at you and wait, that's exactly what we're going to talk about in the next video. Because the psychology behind why dogs follow you is so much deeper than you think.